most worthwhile if I focused on that. And the first point that I want to make to you is that although the world is currently awash with security challenges, be that full-scale land war in Europe and devastating conflict and terrorism in the Middle East, and although Australia has a level of focus on those things, and they are important to us, and we have useful things to say about them, and you might ask them in Q&A, the key point I want to underline to you is that Australia's focus on the Indo-Pacific has never been so complete. And so I think this is a group of talks called Diplomat Diaries. Our diary is full of the Indo-Pacific. And although you could chart on a graph the level of Australian engagement in its region as opposed to the world over the past 30 years, the period that I've been a diplomat, you would find that even though there has been steady increase in our foreign and security policies focus on the Indo-Pacific, or as we used to call it, the Asia-Pacific, we are now definitely at a new high. So what is it that has changed this? There's something that's the same. And the thing that is the same is the level of potential prosperity and opportunity that Australia can glean from its region. We remain enormously optimistic about the economic future of our region and what that can mean for our businesses, for Australians who want to travel, for human experience with other people in our region. But what has changed is the very substantially increased level of strategic risk. And so now we live in a region which is clearly experiencing superpower competition. We see boundary disputes intensifying. Close encounters between our militaries in flashpoints are increasing. As a direct result, I think, of superpower tension, we are seeing rules and norms being twisted and bent and occasionally broken. The risks of a cataclysmic conflict have increased, while measures for maintaining peace and security are not keeping pace with the rise in risk. So, all in all, from the perspective of my country, that is the most challenging set of security dynamics that we have faced in 2 generations. And as part of it, we see that China is undertaking the biggest military build-up that the world has seen since World War II. And that military build-up is happening without transparency or without strategic reassurance. China has had territorial disputes on many of its boundaries for a long time, but the way in which it is managing those can now be described as forceful. And we are seeing unprofessional and dangerous behaviour in the air and in the sea. And in fact, Australia has specifically experienced that, with most recently our Navy divers in international waters being subject to sonar pulses that could have been very dangerous. China is also undertaking very frequent military exercises in the Taiwan Strait. So, fundamentally, because of these greater level of strategic risk, we require a new level of effort. And we have a sense of the sort of region that we want to shape. And that's a region where the large and the mighty don't dominate the small and the less mighty, where no nation is dominant and nations don't feel dominated, where laws and rules and norms shape state conduct. Where multilateral and regional institutions give all states sitting together a voice in the trajectory of the region. In short, what we are seeking to establish for our region is a sustainable strategic balance and a region where states can express their sovereignty freely. Its engagement in the United States and Canada. And the first thing to say is that at the time that these allegations first came out, my foreign minister and my department made some statements about our approach to that, and I don't need to repeat them. They remain online on the website. You can look at them yourselves. We haven't changed our view about that. The rule of law and sovereignty are vitally important for a country like Australia. We have, as today's talk has, I hope, identified, a very prospective bilateral relationship with India. And I've said that India is an indispensable part of the balancing equation for Australia. I've said that the trajectory of your economy is something that many of our firms and our governments and want to be closely involved in. And I haven't said it harsh, but there's a third driver here, and that's the now nearly 1 million people of Indian origin who live in Australia, nearly 4% of our population. Question first. I'm not going to comment on intelligence matters. That's a long-run Australian imperative in the way in which we talk in public. We don't talk about intelligence matters, and I've already answered in relation to the allegations from the United States and Canada. I've already given an answer to that question. Look, I think we need to be really clear that the Quad is the Quad. It has 4 members. There are no plans that I know to increase the membership. The question about the way in which countries in our region choose to frame their relations with China is very important. In my talk, I used the term sovereignty a lot. And for us, it's very important that states in our region have the opportunity to make sovereign choices about their own destinies in ways that are uncoerced and without undue influence for others. So it's for the leaders of those countries, especially those that are democratic,